Hello and welcome to a GameStim beginner's level course for EVE Online. I am your instructor Rutherford and this is Understanding the EVE Window. If you're viewing this from the GameStim YouTube channel, you can also enroll in this course at www.gamestim.com. Here are the course outcomes. Item Select menu, we'll be looking at that. The Overview menu, the Drone Control menu, Heads-Up display, and chat windows. So the whole concept of this video is just getting you more familiar with what you're looking at when you're looking outside or when you're looking through the EVE window. And the EVE window is just being referred to as all of this area that you see in front of you right now. Okay, so let's get started. The first is the Item Select menu, which is up here. Now you'll notice that there are a number of items there that are grayed out with only one highlighted. I'm just going to find another object. It'll give us a little bit of different perspective. So I've selected the Caldari sentry gun. I'm up in the upper right hand corner if you're not sure. You'll see here that there is an align to, a warp to within 0 meters, and an information. This align to, I'll click it and you'll see that the ship, this is a interceptor, will immediately start to fly towards that sentry gun. The next one you have is warp to 0. Now it says 0 meters right now, but if you right click you can actually set that default distance. Very few people do. I wouldn't recommend it. This is a great option for just warping to a gate at 0 and jumping through. Okay. Now one thing I want to mention. This jump, if you were to use this at a warpable object, let me choose this station over here and align to the station. It's a Caldari Business Tribunal Information Center. What will happen now is you will see that you have the warp to and you have the dock. If you were to use this warp to, it would go to the station within 0 meters and stop. If you were to use the dock, it would go to within 0 meters and dock. Now let's find Stargate up here. So now we're going to go towards a Stargate. Now you'll notice there's a warp to and there's a jump button. Now if you were to use this warp to like before, it would warp to 0 and stop. If you were to use the jump key, however, what this will do, which is different from warp to within 0, is this would take you to the Stargate and jump you through the Stargate. Now that's very important. If you ever find yourself in a fleet and the fleet commander tells you to warp to a gate and hold, you'll want to hit this button here, the warp to within 0. You don't want to hit this one, which is jump, or you'll be the one out of 100 guys that jumps and then the field commander says, okay, who jumped? Don't be that guy or gal. Okay, so you need to know the difference between these two. Now we also have, let's get a little bit closer to an object. We have an object right here, pretty close. Let's hit the warp or the orbit. So we are currently now 34 kilometers away on the select item there. You can also see it in space. We're going towards it. We're going to hit our micro warp. And at this point we will go orbit it at 5,000 meters. If you need to change that, you just right click, set orbit, whatever you want it to be, and away you go. This here is keep at distance. If you were to click that, your ship would go to 5,000 meters and then stop if the object isn't moving. If the object is moving, it'll continuously try to recalculate and stay at 5,000 meters. Most people will use this keep at range sparingly because it's very difficult. You want to make sure that you're always moving and you're not moving towards the enemy but away from the enemy at your desired range. So this button, it does get pressed once in a while, but you don't want to just click it and forget it. Now the next one would be the targeting reticule here, or the target, lock target. Once you click it, you will see the item come up and it's targeted. You can press it again and it's untargeted. You can look at the object, and then you can look away back to your ship. And then, of course, you can look at information on the target. Remember, you can click on these pictures as well, get more information on those items. Okay. So that's the select, or the item select menu. Next, we're going to look at the overview, and this is the overview. And what you need to know about this overview is what's happening in all these various columns. The first column is what we call our icon column. Okay. These are mobile depots, so let's look a little bit further down, and you'll start seeing ships. Now, every ship has its own unique identifier icon. Don't worry if they're confusing. They're confusing to a lot of people. That's why we have the type. And the type is on the far right, and that tells you what the ship is. And of course, you have the name. Name is important when your field or your fleet commander tells you to lock a certain person. You'll want to find them on this overview. And then your distance. Most people have their distance set from closest to furthest. Okay. Now these can also be changed from furthest to closest. So descending, ascending, same with name, ascending, descending, same with type, ascending and descending. I'm just clicking on the right mouse button to change that. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep it on distance. Okay. Perfect. So that is the overview. The last thing that I do want to look at is the drone control area. So it's this box right here. Now, drone control has what it does is it shows you what drones are in your bay, which are these two hobgoblins, and then drones in local space, which at the moment none. Now there are different ways in which you can launch your drones. You can right click on one, hit the shift key, right click on the other, and you'll notice how both of them have been selected, at which point you can right click and launch drones, or you can hold your finger down on the left mouse button and tell it to launch drones, or you can do what I like to do is grab them with the left mouse button and throw them into space, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. Let's bring these suckers back in. Most people will have these in groups, so let's go ahead and highlight them again. Left click on one, shift and left click the other. Now we're going to right click and we're going to say move drone to, and we already have it set up, hobgoblins, hob. So at this point I can minimize that, and I know I have 2 hobgoblins in that group, at which point I can throw them out into space, or I can tell them to go back in the drone bay. Or I can tell them to go out into space that way, and then tell them to come on back in. Okay, and of course you can always have the trusty right click. Launch drones. And also to return to drone bay. Now, one thing I want to show you is you can also have that either expanded or collapsed. You probably don't want to have your drones showing like this because you can't see them. They're in space, but you don't know what they're doing. So if someone's attacking them, you wouldn't know it. Okay, so it's always good to have them, leave them out like that. Excellent. One little tidbit I do want to show you before we leave is using the overview to target items. Now, what you don't want to do is find yourself trying to look through space. Okay, where is that item? I can't find it. You never want to do that. You always want to use your overview, or there's some other areas, but I'm just going to stick to the overview. Okay. So what you can do is come here and then click on that, or you can right click and lock target. But a real quick way is if you hold the control key and then left click on the item on your overview, it targets for you. And that's a really fast way to get whatever you need to get targeted. Boom, 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 boom. And you can get them targeted. Okay. Perfect. So that'll end the first part of this video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos of this type, please visit us at www.gamestim.com. And in the meantime, fly safe. Bye now.